Okay, good morning everybody. Actually, I resigned from M2U last year, so I'm still here. Okay, I just want to give you a brief report about what happens what's happening in Manila. And we are very glad to host you here and hope you feel very comfortable. And actually, I want to give special thanks to Joyce.
Yay, Joyce!
Joyce is actually, without Joyce you wouldn't be here. No. That's just matter of fact. So thank you, Joyce, for working out everything. As you know, I'm only here now part-time, so that makes it very difficult to be in the leadership of an organization, other organization full-time, and still keep an eye on the Matul program. Now, things that we are discussing in Manila are things like questions is, what is really our vision of transformation? So if you talk about transformation, what does it look like when you see it? And that goes to the same question, of course, if you want to understand what is transformation, you also need to know what kind of graduates do we want to produce to get this transformation, to work for this transformation, to move it forward. We see our graduates as agents of transformation. And so then the next question would be, what kind of training do we need to produce these graduates? What educational philosophies? What extra steps do we need to take this to realize actually a seminary? Many people will critique that a seminary is not really a place for transformation. That's why they give seminary the nickname cemetery. But actually, in the end, it's killing you instead of equipping you. So we realize that the classrooms alone don't make people into transformers. It needs real life experience. It needs, like Ludovic said, they need to live in the slums. They need to be with the people. They need to experience what's going on in the real world, and then complement that with academic research, with principles, with theories, and then you get people who can go out and change the world. So I think it was very good what David said this morning about love, and what kind of Christians, what kind of leaders do we want to shape? You know, there was the seminary president who wanted to visit a student as he was preaching in his church in alumni, and after the sermon he asked one of the members, he said, brother, what kind of change do you observe in your pastor before and after the seminary education? And then the member said, sir, before he studied in the seminary, we still understood his sermons, but now we don't know what he's talking about.
That's pretty.
So I think we want people like what Andrew said, people that are full of love, not just full of knowledge, but that will go out and people will see that they are really living the gospel in their daily lives as they are working with the poor. Because that is the gospel actually, that if you go in the slum, the gospel that the poor will understand is your life, is how you treat them, how you interact with them, how you relate to them. That's the gospel that they will understand. And we also understand, we realize that most pastors here in the Philippines, they don't have academic training. And they would not ever be able to take the mature courses and to write the papers and to read the books. That's beyond their reach. So one thing we also envision is, like what we're talking, having a training at the grassroots for millions. Actually in the Philippines we have 70,000 evangelical churches. And maybe 5% of those pastoring the churches have seminary training. And maybe another 5% would qualify for seminary training. But there are 90% of the pastors who do not qualify. So but they are working, these are the pastors who are working at the grassroots. It's the pastors who qualify for MDiv. They are mostly in churches that are middle class. But the pastors at the grassroots, in the slums, in the communities, they are actually the guys that need the training that we offer. So we're also looking at the certificate level, at a kind of a more non-formal approach to bring the QL training to these. So that is also a vision. So instead of not only going up to the doctorate, which is also needed, but actually we also need to go down to the grassroots and to those people who maybe who don't even have a high school education, but are pastors on the ground. So these are things that we are discussing and that go around in our minds. So what are we trying to achieve? Something is we are thinking people need the capacity to have critical thinking, because if you see the things that are happening in the slums, you need also to be able to analyze, to look behind the different ideas, and also you need to be able to think critically about different theological approaches and the implications. But on the other hand, you need also a transformational vision to see what does God want to do in this place. And you need to learn from others, and I think that's why we appreciate so much this commission, and we are so happy to host you here, because we know we don't have all the answers. We need you guys, we need to learn from you, we need to listen also what God is doing in your place, what is God doing in Uganda, what is God doing in India. And also we need to listen to the urban poor. And when I became part of this because 20 years ago I read a book, Companion to the Poor, written by a guy named Viv Gray. And he wrote that There are people like Pastor June and people in Tatalon, they became these teachers. And I think that is what we never must forget, that the people in the slums, they are our teachers. You're not their saviors. We don't have the answers for them, but we can learn a lot from them as well. So we want to develop students who are able to learn from our brothers and sisters in their communities. So we want to have a powerful and rooted vision of urban transformation. We want to see the church as God's agent in the community, that we believe that God has called the church to bring justice, to bring the kingdom of God in a holistic way, and we want that God will use us to achieve that. And of course, that is only helpful if other people also know about that. So that's why we created a marketing plan. So actually, most of this is working through the personal aspect. Actually, our best promoters are our students and our alumni. But it is word-by-mouth propaganda that brings most of our students. Of course, we have a website, we have a video, we have brochures, and all that kind of stuff. We do some events, we try to partner. But the main thing is really, our students are our best sales agents for the Matul. Okay, like this was a fundraising event. Because many of our students, they can't raise their own tuition fees, so we need to subsidize. And this was a fundraising event that actually the students organized without us telling them. The students themselves said, oh, we want to do this fundraising event. So I think our students here in Matul, they are really hands-on, they are self-motivated, they have a strong sense of self-motivation, and they have a strong sense of ownership of the program. It is not our program that we download to the students. We are actually a learning community, and our students feel that Matul is their program, and they allow us to teach them. But actually, the truth is, we learn a lot from our students too. So it's a very, we have a very, what you would say, friendship atmosphere between faculty and students in Matul, here in Manila. Now this is the planned certificate that we are thinking about, that will have 10 courses which are non-academic. So we are looking about urban theology, spirituality, we are looking about the theological basis for social transformation, looking about hermeneutics with the poor. Most of these courses are actually adapted to the Matul courses that we have. It's just that they are non-academic, but practical, grassroots, storytelling-oriented approach to education. And hopefully we can start this maybe this year. That is our plan. Oh man, yeah. Okay, just a minute. That is better, yeah. Okay, is that better? Yes. So actually the one theology and practice about community organizing and governance, of course we also want to bring in this on a kind of a more church planting with approach, because actually if you look at the principles of community organizing and church planting, there is significant overlap on this. And we also we put in the research course because we realized most pastors they don't do any research. And the idea is we want also pastors to help the pastors to understand their context. It's not a library research, but it's more the research for them to understand the dynamics in their communities, to investigate their communities. It could, if you want to tell it in a spiritual way, it could be like you could sort of exegete the communities. That if you want, that's actually what we mean about it. And we want to look at also how to build their capacity as leaders. So I think we will be talking about vocational training more this week, and hopefully some of the ideas. This is still a work in progress. So if we can get good interaction within this week when we talk about vocational training, classroom trainings, we are very interested to learn and to interact with you this week, so we can that might help us to improve this plan that we have here. Now a bit about statistics. Our program started 2007, so we are now running for 8 years. And so we started with 14 students, and then we plateaued around 30 students within the last 3 years. And we had a bit of a special status in ATS for a while, but now that we are accredited, our program became accredited by the Commission of Higher Education, so meaning our mature program is officially recognized by the government. We have become a regular program, so some of our privileges have been cut. It's like normally in ATS we don't allow a scholarship from the beginning. For the first semester, students have to pay, and then they can apply for scholarship. Before we had scholarship from the very beginning. Now we don't have that anymore, so we have to see how that will affect our enrollment. But hopefully we won't have any negative impact on that. So this is some pictures from our retreat, actually the annual retreat is what students really appreciate. It's really one of the events that build communities at ATS. Now the graduation, it's going up and down. The graduation numbers, it's because students move on a different pace. We have quite a lot of part-time students who do have a day job or pastoring a church, and so we have actually our classes have shifted mostly from day classes to evening classes. We are actually 90% of our classes are now evening classes. That was 5 years ago when I took over the program. We mostly had full-time students, but now it's evening and Saturday classes, and to have working students. And that also changed the pace. Before we had students who did the program in 2 years. Now we have students who take 3 years, 4 years to finish the program because of the workload. They can not do the same academic load as full-time students. So here again the numbers. We have so far 34 alumni. And we have also an alumni group. Actually, the fundraising event was also done in partnership with the alumni. I think from all the programs in ATS, we have the most active alumni group, and I think it's also, you have to say that Joyce has done a tremendous job in keep tracking those alumni, keeping in touch with them, inviting them. So if you want, because very often it is like people graduate from the school and then they go their way, and maybe you never hear from them again, you know? So you really have to pursue them actively and keep in touch with them. So it takes quite a lot of effort, and to keep the community intact. And we think it's very important also for the students to be in communication with alumni, so they see, okay, this happened to, these guys graduated from M2U, and that's what happened to them. And so as an encouragement also for them to keep going to pursue their studies. And we had a few students also who wrote a number of very good academic papers. So we had one, Chris Leona, he wrote about debt burden of factory workers, and it was really a very good paper on investigating that not many poor people, they're really so indebted that without help, without somebody teaching them stewardship principles, they really can't get out of that. So a very good paper. Then we had a participatory evaluation and planning of the Diliman Campus Power Church community outreach. So somebody evaluated an outreach of a middle-class church in an urban community. What are the dynamics when a middle-class church goes into urban poor community? So a very interesting paper. Then the effect of broken family relationships to the urban poor children. So often we talk about, when we talk about the poor, we talk about how to get them richer, how to help them to develop. But very little is known about the trauma that urban poor people encounter and how that affects them as persons and how can we help them. Then our alumni Carr, who is now a professor, she wrote about gun violence and peacemaking in the Filipino Muslim community. That was a paper that was also presented at the ATS Theological Forum and published in the Forum books. So we see that actually our alumni are producing quality work that actually that is publishable.
Excellent.
And then another paper was about what happens if a church starts a school. And there was also a very good paper about education. Then we have a few very local books that we also want to recommend to you. This one was of the ATF Theological Forum, The Church and Poverty in Asia. There are several people contributed here. This one is written by our own faculty, Dr. Aaron Smith, who will become most likely the next M2U director of ATS. He wrote about living in the neighborhood. It's about incarnation, how to survive incarnation, how to sustain an incarnational ministry. It's grew out of his dissertation. Very, very good book. You can also get it online. Really, I think every M2U library should have this book in the library. This was written by a Catholic priest, Father Beltran, who lived in Smoky Mountain for many years, faced and struggled on Smoky Mountain, a very moving and very deep spiritual book. Then this was written by Melba Magai, a Christian intellectual who wrote about transforming society. Also a very good book, very good reflections about how the church can be the agent of transformation in society. Okay, yeah. That's it. Well, I can report. Actually, this was.
Yeah.
Any questions about what you're doing here in Manila? Yes.
Just a quick question about the certificate program. What's the length of that?
Well, those are 10 modules, and each module is 15 hours, actually basically 2 days of training. So if you do that every weekend, you could basically do it in 10 weeks. If you do it every month, you can do it in a bit over a year. But actually, basically, it's 150 contact hours.
So how much do we have to pay you to keep you on?
Actually, I'm not, even Aaron takes over, I still want to be part of the faculty lineup. I still want to teach. I love teaching, even I don't know if I know anything, but I love teaching, and so my love, well, even I'm not anymore full-time, my love stays with Matur, and I try to be still part of Matur. And I think, I'm very confident that Aaron will be doing a pretty good job once he comes on board. Yes, Gary?
Is the certificate program residential ATS, or can it be taught off-site, or is it online?
Actually, it's planned to be outside. It seems to be, instead of bringing, the idea is, instead of bringing people to the seminary, bringing the seminary to the people. So it's more like an off-campus module, going into the communities and teaching people there.
So it's facilitated, not necessarily taught. Is it, I mean, is it the module?
It's more facilitated. It should be, the approach would be more like on the Ferrian approach of problem-based learning, dialogical education principles.
Thank you.
No lectures. Or
Sign me up.
No lectures.
If there are no more questions, I think we should bring this to a close.
okay.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you too.
HIL leaders, pray for the program in Philippines and for Peter to find this landing in all situations. And of course, pray for
Father Lord, we thank you so much for the way you have been guiding us, and thank you for the way the marching program going on in Manila. Lord, we thank you the way you have been guiding the leadership, ATS, specifically Dr. Peter, and thank you for the concern that you have extended towards the program in the poor community, in the slums. Lord, we pray that you will help them continuously be growing unto the objective that has been set before you. And Lord, we thank you for the provision for us, and we pray for your blessing hands upon every one of us as we continue discussing the letters related to the program that we have. So we commit everyone in your hands. In Jesus' name we ask.
Amen, amen. Time for a break. Yeah.
Also, just quickly, anyone who hasn't connected with me regarding registration fees, if you could just connect with me at some time during break, that would be wonderful.
Não sei, mas ele veio influenciado por isso, porque esse país é presbiteriano e quando ele falou, não, tudo merece estudar toda a religião, apesar de ser batista, eu ensinar que você disse todas as religiões.
But I'm just putting logs together.
People who voted
Yeah, well, I was still and I said, what we need is a group. I've got one guy, we need 3 or 4 people based around just technical stuff. We don't want to do this. We don't want to put the technical side. And then big educational resources, thinking, contextualization, this network. And they say, we want to live like this. That's easy for us. If you want to live in this, you say, we want oral stories, next 3 files, that scenario, so that they'll have to come up with still. I'm taking that they correct much of these stories that I'm so the technical now is relatively easy. So if you it's easier or shorter. So we want this kind of press on buttons on this. We want this to come out, and then we're going to discuss this. And we need you to put this on X. These are CVDs. I can just chips from up. Whatever they want. It's the easiest part. Yeah, it's pure like which always goes we need a file, it's 5,000 pieces of cards loaded it's 2 course and he gives the stuff goes along with a job come up with me 5,000 SD cards and one of them on but there's somewhere in the monthly commission needs to be a thing. Not as easy in the paradigm but he knows where his standards are for this one thing an easy thing. And break that out. And then once he gets the idea, just it's like right. Can you yes. Yes, right. Yeah. What I'm thinking is we have again, so that is quite obvious. There's a lot of people running out of cities and violence themselves right now. And then you got the museum here, somewhere here. So we should do another master knowledge for a thing. And then that's a client, that's serious advice. Untrained partner, got to get up and go. That package is absolutely essential. There'll be people like that.
That sounds like a good time.